This is MeetSean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Okay, so let's talk about luxury. The era of, shouting brand names with giant logos, that sophisticated shout, it's definitely fading. Instead, what we're seeing is this more subtle, uh, deeply knowledgeable approach taking over. We call it quiet luxury, and it's a total game changer for smart buyers.
It absolutely is. And that shift, it really demands insider knowledge. That's why we've tailored this deep dive just for you.
Hooray, yeah.
We are unpacking sources on luxury without the logo, how to buy quality like an insider. And our mission here is to cut through all that marketing noise and, well, give you the essential playbook, the tools to spot top-notch craftsmanship and enduring materials.
So you can stop shopping for just prestige.
Exactly. And start making purchasing decisions that authentically reflect your personal style.
And we're diving into sources covering, everything from essential materials checklists to some pretty advanced resale market strategies. This isn't just about knowing what's expensive. It's about understanding the real long-term worth of what you buy.
Okay, let's unpack this philosophy. What does the term luxury lifestyle shopping actually mean in this modern context?
At its core, it's really about transformation. It moves way beyond just simple consumption. The sources define luxury lifestyle shopping as valuing fine craftsmanship, timeless style, and this is critical connecting with the story of how an item was actually made.
So you're investing in the labor, the skill.
The history behind it. When you buy something, that's what you're really buying.
So it's quality over the brand name, which brings us right to that term, quiet luxury. What's the precise definition?
That's the central idea, really. Quiet luxury means valuing high-quality, timeless items that don't need a visible logo to prove their worth. The product's material, its make, its design, those are the only markers you need. It's an internal standard, not an external one. It's just fascinating how quickly consumers have embraced this subtlety. Why are people pulling back from the flashy labels? Is it just, aesthetic fatigue?
I think it's deeper than that. And the sources highlight 4 key drivers. First, there's a real profound appreciation for craftsmanship that just goes beyond brand fame. People want to feel the quality. Second, it allows for a more confident display of style. It's understated, and it avoids that loud, competitive feeling you get with visible status symbols.
And then there's the appeal for timeless pieces, right? Things that won't just be disposable next season.
Exactly. And I think the fourth point is the real draw.
The secret sauce.
Yeah, that feeling of exclusivity. If a piece doesn't have a giant logo, it makes you feel like you're part of a select group that recognizes intrinsic, structural quality without needing that external validation.
So you're signaling to other connoisseurs, not just the general public.
Precisely. It's a highly refined signal. When we look at the brands that really epitomize this trend, the sources repeatedly point to the Rowan Lemaire.
Known for their architectural silhouettes, very minimal.
Yes, but maybe the most quintessential example is Loro Piana.
Okay, we hear a lot about Loro Piana in the context of, extreme luxury. What specifically makes them the gold standard for quiet luxury?
They define their luxury almost entirely through sensation, not visual branding. They specialize in using the rarest fibers on Earth. Vicuña, which is incredibly difficult to source, and baby cashmere.
So their luxury is felt.
It's felt. It's about the handle and the drape of the fabric. You recognize a Loro Piana garment not because you see a label, but because of how that fabric moves and feels. And that's a level of intrinsic worth that, frankly, branding just can't replicate.
Okay, let's get into that insider knowledge then. If we're buying quality over branding, we need some practical tools to actually identify that quality. Knowing materials seems like the starting point for understanding an item's real value and its longevity.
This is the technical heart of the dive. We have to go beyond the buzzwords. The quality of a material dictates durability, comfort, and how well the item ages over time.
So lay out the insider's checklist for us. What are the specific details we should be prioritizing when we're inspecting luxury goods?
Okay, let's start with leathers. You must prioritize full-grain leather. This is the top layer of the hide, so it keeps all the natural imperfections and has the greatest density.
Which makes it the most durable.
By far. And it develops a beautiful patina over time. Anything stamped genuine leather or corrected grain is immediately a lower tier.
And what about the tanning process?
Great question. Look for vegetable tanned leather. It uses natural processes and it ages so much better than the cheaper chrome tanned options.
That distinction full grain versus genuine, that sounds essential for longevity.
Absolutely. Now, moving to textiles, since we mentioned Loro Piana, let's talk cashmere. Premium cashmere is judged by its fineness and length. It often requires a high ply count, usually 2-ply or 4-ply, which means the yarn is tightly twisted for durability.
And for silks?
For silks, you want a high mom weight. That's M-O-M-M-E, 19 mom or higher. That indicates density and drape. These are the details you look for when the label is silent.
So that covers what it's made of. But that material is nothing without the person shaping it. We need to shift focus to how it's made. How do we get from a pile of premium vicuña to a true luxury garment?
Craftsmanship. That's the difference between simple assembly and true artistry. It's the result of hundreds of hours of focused, often generational skill. The sources say there are 3 critical things to evaluate.
Okay, let's get concrete. What are the specific visual cues we should look for?
The first is precision, the care used in making the item. Look at the stitching. Is it uniform? In high-end leather goods, look for saddle stitching. That's 2 needles passing through the same hole. It creates this incredibly durable interlocking seam that won't unravel easily if one stitch breaks.
And for clothes?
For garments, look for hand-rolled hems on scarves or ties. It's a detail that requires immense skill and adds a beautiful drape.
That level of detail is, well, it's almost impossible to replicate with a machine. What about those old techniques passed down through generations?
That's the second aspect, the use of heritage techniques. Think of bespoke tailoring or, in shoes, Goodyear welting.
Right. That's a complex process.
It is a multi-step process to attach the sole that allows the shoe to be endlessly repaired and resoled. It guarantees a lifetime of wear. That's the definition of quality over quick consumption.
And the third point you mentioned, the craftsman's ability to innovate within those traditions.
Yes, that's where tradition meets function. A true craftsman takes a heritage skill and applies it to a modern context. Maybe they create a new silhouette, a unique hidden pocket, or a highly personalized fit. By valuing this deep level of skill, you truly appreciate the item's worth. You become a sophisticated buyer, not just a wealthy one.
Okay, so now that we know how to spot quality, we move to the strategic part, mastering acquisition. Research and patience seem to be key to achieving timeless style without overspending.
Indeed. And while luxury brands often control supply, smart shoppers use specific strategies. For discounts, it's less about mass market sales and more about insider access.
So signing up for newsletters.
Exactly. Sign up for specific brand newsletters to get alerts for friends and family sales or private preview events. Also, check online stores like Yucks or The Outnet. They're often official offshoots for past season luxury goods.
The sources also emphasize thrift shopping. But for a high-end audience, this isn't just visiting the local Goodwill, right? Where do the insiders look for these hidden gems?
They focus on specialized consignment stores and high-end vintage boutiques, often in affluent neighborhoods, which act as great filters for quality. Thrifting at this level is about spotting vintage construction details that indicate superior quality. A heavy brass zipper, a certain type of French seam.
It's a real art form.
It is. It's about visiting often, checking the condition ruthlessly, and if you're in a physical consignment shop, don't be afraid to negotiate, especially if you find a minor flaw.
Speaking of finding value, we have to discuss the booming resale market. Why has pre-owned luxury gone from this niche thing to a mainstream economic phenomenon?
Well, resale is fueled by some really compelling modern factors. First, sustainability. Choosing pre-owned goods extends the life cycle of an item, making it a greener, lower carbon option than buying new.
And second, affordability.
Absolutely, affordability. Resale democratizes luxury. It makes high-end fashion accessible at much lower prices.
And this creates a really wonderful economic loop. Sellers get capital back, which they can reinvest, and buyers get top-tier goods at a fraction of the cost.
Right.
It really maximizes the value for everyone.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reliability and the demand in the resale market actually validates the whole investment strategy of buying quiet luxury.
How so?
Well, if an item maintains its value without a massive logo on it, that confirms the intrinsic quality we were just talking about.
That's a great point. However, navigating authentication in the resale space, that's the biggest hurdle. How can a buyer be sure they're getting the real deal and not a counterfeit?
You have to approach this like a forensic scientist. Always use platforms that offer strong authentication guarantees, but you should still do your own due diligence.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Look for detailed descriptions and high-quality, high-resolution images. You want close-ups of the hardware, the stitching, the interior tags. If a seller uses blurry low-light photos, That's an immediate red flag.
What are those specific details that counterfeiters usually get wrong? The things a knowledgeable buyer always checks.
Hardware is a huge tell. On a real luxury item, the hardware zippers, buckles, snaps, it'll be heavy, smoothly finished, and engraved with extreme precision, not stamped or lightweight.
And the stitching.
Check the stitching alignment. On high-end bags, the stitching pattern often follows very strict design rules. And trust your other senses. Authentic leather has a distinct smell, and the lining fabric should feel dense, not flimsy or loose.
And the biggest red flag of all.
The price. Be highly suspicious of prices significantly lower than the current market value. Counterfeits rarely, if ever, reflect the true labor cost of real craftsmanship. If we step back and look at the philosophy driving these choices, it's all about prioritizing timeless pieces. It's a quality over quantity mindset. Coco Chanel famously said, "The difference between style and fashion is quality."
That quote is so relevant today. Investing in classic designs, a simple wool coat, tailored trousers, neutral colored basics, it lets you build a versatile wardrobe that transcends seasons. You reduce decision fatigue and avoid those impulse buys.
Precisely. And when we talk about classics, we are inherently talking about items made with premium materials and crafted with care. They have a higher cost per wear because they last for decades, not just a few seasons. This shift brings us directly to a major factor changing the luxury world: sustainability.
The luxury world is under so much scrutiny now for its environmental and social effects. So how is luxury balancing high quality with, high ethics?
It's a complex area, but a necessary one. Sustainable luxury means combining top-quality items with production methods that are both green and fair. This involves rigorous transparency in the supply chain, verified fair labor practices, and a commitment to using genuinely green materials.
That emphasis on genuinely green is key, because greenwashing, where brands just exaggerate their environmental claims, is a real challenge for consumers. How can you authenticate a brand's sustainable claims?
You have to look past the marketing slogans.
Yeah.
Look for third-party certifications or publicly available impact reports. Leading brands set the example by not just claiming sustainability, but showing their work.
Like Stella McCartney.
Exactly. Stella McCartney, for example, is entirely vegetarian and uses recycled and eco-friendly materials across her entire line. Gucci has committed to carbon neutrality and is actively working to lessen its overall environmental footprint.
And Prada's recent efforts are a great example of innovation meeting sustainability, aren't they?
Yes. Prada's Re-Nylon line is a brilliant case study. They developed a process to create high-quality nylon from recycled ocean plastic, fishing nets, and textile waste. They took a signature material and redesigned its entire life cycle, turning waste into high-end, durable luxury goods. These actions signal a true commitment. This focus on material integrity and ethical production naturally brings us back to the importance of the human element: local craftsmanship.
What's fascinating here is how supporting local artisans contributes directly to multiple goals at once: quality, unique style, and sustainability.
It's true. When you support a local craftsperson, a tailor, a leatherworker, a jeweler, you get a unique, high-quality piece with a verifiable story, often made using those heritage techniques we talked about. And crucially, you also aid sustainability by dramatically cutting down on carbon emissions from mass production and global shipping. The supply chain is transparent and localized.
So if we want to integrate this local element into our luxury shopping, how do we find these specialized craftspeople, especially outside of the main city hubs?
Beyond craft fairs and local markets, you can look for online platforms that curate local makers, use local chambers of commerce directories, or simply ask for referrals from high-end interior designers or architects in your area. Building those relationships offers a highly personalized luxury experience that a multinational corporation just cannot match.
This has been a definitive deep dive into acquiring luxury intelligently. We covered the power of quiet luxury valuing genuine craftsmanship over loud branding, the essential checklist for premium materials, and the savvy approach to the resale market.
And before we conclude, we should just briefly touch on the digital shift. The global marketplace has provided unprecedented accessibility, allowing smaller, quality-focused brands like La Mer to gain global recognition. But for you, the individual shopper, effective networking is still critical.
Right. Building relationships with designers, stylists, and even specialized retailers can offer some very concrete perks.
Absolutely. Those relationships often lead to invitations to members-only sales, early access to new collections, and even invitations to exclusive preview events. It's the highest level of personalized shopping, really.
And that brings us back to what might be the most critical takeaway of all. Internal confidence and personal style. We've seen that quiet luxury relies on internal confidence, not external branding. So the real question is, if the logo's gone, how confident are you in your own taste? Are you buying for a quality you value or a quality you think others will recognize? Since having a clear personal style helps you avoid impulse buys and focus only on items that truly resonate with your taste, how might you begin to define your personal style to ensure every luxury purchase you make adds lasting functional value to your wardrobe?
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.